Hello everyone, got another real-time edit for you here. Another pretty simple photograph, just this adult least tern sitting on a nest on the beach just at sunrise. I mean just after sunrise. You can see the light was just starting to kick in here on the face. It was a beautiful morning that day and got a ton of great photos, but I just wanted to do kind of another simple edit that didn't require a lot of work. So here in Lightroom, everything's as it was shot. It's reset to the original and we're going to start with a crop. Going to actually grab the angle tool here and kind of use this horizon line to go a little bit straighter there, maybe a little bit too far, and I'm going to come in just a touch on this so I can kind of offset it a little bit. I love this subtle touch of green that's happening up there. Alright, lighter, I'm going to kind of brighten the highlights there, a little bit warmer with it. I'm really going to accentuate the sun that was happening that morning. There we go, and there I just kicked up the shadows. You can see the detail starting to show up in the black there. I do want to throw graduated adjustment on this and just kind of darken that foreground subtly, and there, I think that's a really good starting spot. So into Photoshop we go. Alright, first things first, as always, blank layer, just gonna comb through the image, make sure there's nothing I want to remove, and there's no dust spots in this one, which is a rarity for me. My cameras tend to be pretty dirty, but I am going to remove just some distracting elements here. So a little bit of a dark spot right here in this out of focus foreground, and then I love all the sand and detail and shell and all that stuff. I just don't like this big dark speck right here, so I'm just going to grab some different areas and clone that out. Just using the regular clone tool here with some light opacity, pressure sensitivity with the Wacom tablet here. And there we go. Pretty distraction free there now. Shot this at f4, I believe. Let's see, yep, shot it at f4. So there's really razor thin depth of field. So I have a nice out of focus foreground and background there. I do want to increase the contrast on the gray of the bird there, and then I like the warmth on the bird's head and in the background there, but I think in the gray of the bird it's a little bit too red, so I'm actually going to take some of that red out just to try and neutralize the gray tone there. And now that I saw that overall, I think I kind of like it a little bit. I think I went a little bit too red in Lightroom, so I'm going to show you guys how I can apply some of that effect to everything. So here's the curves adjustment layer that gets rid of the red right there. If I cancel the layer mask, you can see it's pretty heavy handed and everything goes a little bit too cyan if it's painted in everywhere. Right now I used just this area to paint in a little bit of that effect, a light amount right on the bird's wings there to kind of get rid of that. So what I want to do now is use some of this effect right here on the overall image. So I'm going to go to the layer mask. I'm going to use levels. So I'm actually applying levels adjustment to the layer mask. I'm going to go to the output blacks here and then start shifting them up. And I'll go extreme here, and if you watch the thumbnail here, see how it goes gray? So I'm actually bringing that black value up, so some of that effect is starting to show through. So now I'm just going to watch my image and kind of pull it up to where I want. And somewhere in there looks pretty good. There we go. So subtle adjustment, but it just took some of that overall kind of red out. Alright, here's another thing that I hate about a lot of Nikon images seem to do this. The shadows get this weird kind of overall blue cyan happening in them. So I'm going to hue and saturation adjustment layer and just use the target adjustment tool so it can pick the right color for me and desaturate that. And then I'll just paint that effect in right on the foreground here, or on the shadow side is what I meant to say. And there we go. Alright, looking good. I want a little bit more burn in the foreground just to really draw your eye to the bird. I'm going to zoom in on this head a little bit. I still have plenty of detail in the white there, so I want to go a little bit brighter. Something like that starts to lose it. I'm kind of blowing out detail in the highlights, but somewhere around there I'm not. And then I'm just going to bring the contrast back in. So I'm only going to paint that in on the bird because I want to keep my background a little bit more neutral tone, mid-tone. Make that beak stand out, but let's really make this head stand out in that morning light. And a little bit on the wings isn't too bad. And there we go. And then last thing I want to do is kind of accentuate that yellowy green that's showing up top. So I'm going to add some green with a curves adjustment layer and then just kind of paint that in. So now we have a little bit more of that, the indication of that kind of fading in up top there. Oops. So I'll shift that over there. Total before, after. There's our changes in Lightroom. Nothing major, pretty subtle, pretty clean. But from our original image here, let's go ahead and reset that. You can see we've made a noticeable difference. Not a huge amount of editing, but it definitely looks better to me. So there's our before, there's our total after. Nice and warm and rich. Alright, thanks for watching.